Hey, what's going on? It's CJ Wilson, your host from Dope Talk. A lot of excitement in the air. Glad to be back on with you guys. I know it's been a little minute. People been asking what's been going on. Everything is perfectly fine with Dope Talk. We're still up and running. Just had to take care of some things off air for sure. But I appreciate you guys reaching out to make sure everything is okay. But like I said, exciting times for FSU. Let's talk about today's news. FSU got the commitment from Auburn linebacker Cam Riley. That's right. Auburn linebacker Cam Riley from in the transfer portal has committed to FSU and will be enrolling for this 2024 season. Big time get for Mike Norvell, Randy Shannon, DC Adam Fuller in regards to shoring up that linebacker room and getting Cam Riley. If you guys remember back in the December portal era, I was speaking about Cam Riley in regards to FSU courted him and some interest on both sides and a possible match and possible commitment to FSU. That didn't happen at that point in time. Cam Riley did elect to commit to NC State rather than Florida State. NC State does a really good job with defense. A really good coach in Dave Dorian. I like him a lot. And, of course, like I said, linebackers as well. They had a couple linebackers get drafted. Of course, the ACC Player of the Year in Wilson last year for NC State. But nonetheless, he was always a summer enrollee, even back in December. If you guys go back to previous episodes, even back in December, I stated that Cam would be a summer enrollee. So I say that to say this. He was a summer enrollee. He committed to NC State, but no paperwork was submitted in regards to registration and things like that. So he was able to, he recently decommitted from NC State, and that opened the doors for FSU to put their foot back into the door and lock down Cam Riley. A big time need for me personally in regards to the linebacker room. 6'5", 240 pounds, moves very fluid. I know people say 6'5", 240. Think he could be an edge rusher or something like that. I can rest assure you, he's none of that. He's your typical type of linebacker, just a big guy that can move. He's very fluid and he can run, like I said. Physical guy that's violent at the point of attack. He's a fast foot player and he's excellent in pass coverage. When I say excellent, he's excellent in pass coverage. A really good trait, especially for 6'5", 240, 245. You wouldn't think they can move that well and cover that well. It's a clip in his highlights from this past season. He is guarding the All-American tight end from Georgia, Brock Bowers, on a go route down the seam, and he played that perfectly. Ran stride for stride with Brock Bowers, played the ball, made a play on the ball, ended up breaking the pass up. It's just a clip that kind of shows his athletic ability and what he can do out in space from a coverage perspective and things like that. Like I say, he's very physically imposing. You line him up with a DJ Lundy type, 6'5", 240, and another thumper in DJ Lundy. Of course, he's not 6'5", on a 230. As far as weight is concerned, you have two really good linebackers in the mix there. So, again, very productive at Auburn. Played in over 40 career games with 10 starts. Had 119 career tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. His best year came in the year 2022, where he had 65 tackles and 3.5 tackles for loss for the Auburn Tigers. So for FSU in perspective, I think he fits our defense perfectly in regards to what Adam Fuller likes from his defenders. You match him up with DJ Lundy, I think that's a formidable linebacker group. He is coming in to, I believe he's going to be a starter for FSU. Of course, he has to compete with some of the younger linebackers on FSU's roster, such as Sean Murphy, Justin Cryer, Blake Nicholson, Omar Graham. But bringing him in, a very experienced guy to go along with DJ Lundy, that will help that younger linebacker room of Murphy, Cryer, Nicholson, and Graham to get better and things like that. And also not put too much pressure on them to go out and perform for this 2024 season. So, again, if he comes in and start, that'd be great. Hell, if also competition. If one of those younger linebackers, like a Sean Murphy, for example, coming from Alabama, gets hold to the defense and competes and sees this as like, hey, you're bringing in competition, let's get better, that'll be a plus too. But overall, it helps the room from a depth standpoint, a talent standpoint, and just, I think, overall, I think the linebacker room is better overall because I think he's a big-time player that can play for FSU. And also, like I said, his experience, right? He's an experienced player, played in the SEC, 6'5", 240 pounds. You don't see that on the linebacker nowadays, especially one that can move. So that's going to be a good piece of clay that Randy Shannon can mold as far as development and things like that. Big time get for FSU in regards to shooting up defense. I think this FSU defense going to 2024 season is going to be a very good defense, one of the better defenses in the country. So you add a guy in like Cam Riley to kind of shore up that linebacker room, along with what we have on the D-line and the secondary room, who I believe is going to be one of the best in the country. The secondary room is going to be one of the best in the country by far. You have a really good defense going into this year for Adam Fuller, just to kind of replicate from last year. I don't feel like we really miss a beat from the tail end of last season to the start of this season going into the remainder of the 2024 season. So big time gift for FSU. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. FSU also got another transfer player earlier in the week in Omarion Cooper. You guys remember Omarion Cooper? He spent the first 2 years at FSU. Was a 4-star recruit that for Mike Norvell ended up committing to FSU. Defensive back in 2021, he had his best year as a true freshman. Made a lot of plays. If you guys remember that 4th and 14 in Miami game, aside from Jermaine Johnson, who played out of his mind that game, Omarion Cooper was the best player, was the second best player on defense that game, telling an interception, had like 4 or 5 pass breakups. Really good freshman year. Had some injuries at the start of the 2022 season and struggled that year. He ended up transferring to Colorado for the 2023 season. Omarion Cooper recently re-entered the transfer portal from Colorado and decided he wanted to finish his last year of football back where it started in Tallahassee for Florida State. So as far as what Omarion Cooper will bring to the table, I'm not sure if he's going to be playing safety or cornerback from FSU, but overall it does bring more depth to the position and experience to the position, something that we're lacking as far as experience, because if you look at the starting cornerbacks, it's going to be AZ and Fentrell Cypress. Those are the two experienced guys. Behind them, it's a lot of youth, a lot of talent. Don't get it twisted. A lot of talent with the younger cornerbacks, but it's going to be a lot of youth, a lot of freshmen and sophomores competing for those backup roles. I do think Omarion Cooper brings more depth and experience to a well-rounded defensive back room. So you take that for what it is. I think we should be good to go for the 2024 season. Maybe we add a little bit more. I know FSU's in contention for a couple defensive tackles out of the transfer portal. If anything pops off with those guys, we'll be sure to have you covered. But again, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Go Noles.